Hi, I'm Ryan Neal from the Vulgar Skill and Swordwind Historical Swordsmanship.
And I'm Eric Lowe from Swordwind Historical Swordsmanship.
I'm here to talk to you today, sort of opening matters for Godinho. I'm going to begin by discussing customs and courtesies, which is an often overlooked subject within a fencing manual, especially because it has sort of provisions for things like that we're wearing sharp swords in our day-to-day and things like that. But I think that this is important material to go over and introduce to your class because it sort of puts you in a martial mindset, like going through this ritual, this sort of kata, not necessarily for every, I don't have my students do this for every drill or every bout, but at least for the first set of drills and for like their first bout of the day. It puts you in a good mindset to begin practice, and it also tells you a lot about the fencing school culture of the time, which from contemporary sources was known to be violent and dangerous, and people pretend and friendly bouts could quickly become unfriendly bouts or actual fights very quickly. And this sort of links us to our tradition in a way that I find interesting and valuable. So when we enter the school and we decide to begin our bouting, we leave everything on. Sharp swords, cloaks, daggers, everything stays on. Tomas Luis, who is another master, tells you to hand your sharp off to your friend, but we keep this on for now until we have the practice sword in hand. And so we're able to practice ourselves. So my students sometimes want to bend over, and I don't let them just pick the sword up like this. Like, this is not a very martial way to move. You're not ready to do anything. You're racked out. You're kind of not able to see your opponent. You always kneel and pick up the sword in a martial movement, bending at the knees, taking the sword in hand. Now is when we can start removing things like cloaks and sharp swords. So we take off our cloaks, sharp swords that we may be wearing, that we pass off to friends and trusted people, because now we have the ability to defend ourselves if something kicks off and my opponent suddenly attacks me. We started a little close here due to limitations of the camera, but we would leave our hats on still as gentlemen. We make our crossing about here, about a fencing distance. That's when we remove our hats, and then we begin fencing. So we fence, and then when we end our fencing, we do what's called settling. We put our feet together according to Godinho, and we will make a long tahoe which circles the body completely. There's a few ways to interpret this. My favorite interpretation is this long tahoe here, putting in the right foot. Notice I bring the right foot out. I come back to this nails up position. I make a long reverse, putting the left foot in, drag the left foot along the ground. And sort of this, if you ever heard the term bowing and scraping, this is a scrape, is the way I interpret it. You stay in this martial, ready to go posture. You make a salute, and then you set the sword down, nails up. So nails up means fingernails are towards the sky, quillins horizontal. Nails down, fingernails towards the ground, quillins horizontal. And I set the sword down, keeping my eye on my opponent. He says if this has become a violent bout, or if the opponent looks basically like he's still ticked off about the fight, this does not go down until my other sword is in my hand. That way, if he decides to attack me, no, I've got a sharp and I can protect myself. Thank you.